Probably, Kartikji, you know that SIR has been court monitored, and we were waiting that you would go to the court to point out the wrongs of EC and SIR, Election Commission, but you failed. When you cannot explain growth, you blame democracy. And when you cannot answer for economic failure, you create a new theory that we are winning elections and therefore we must be losing the economy. Mr. Obirup Sarkar, I thought I would hear from you about the 8 lakh crore debt that the previous regime had left on the people of Bengal, where you were an economic advisor. I thought you would speak on corruption. I thought you would speak on our ex-chief minister who did the budget on treadmill. That's why we always tell Swapan not to go near the treadmill nowadays. Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is not economics, and that is an excuse. And I stand firmly, completely and unapologetically against the motion. Apart from the numbers and data given by my fellow debater Anand Ranganathan ji, facts tell a very different story. And the story goes like this, that India's real GDP grew by 7.7% in financial year 2025-26. So I have a simple question for the people supporting this motion. If India is losing the economy, why is Indian economy growing by 7.7%? If opposition says that election victory is equal to economic loss, then what is the formula for economic growth? Is it losing elections? If that were true, perhaps the opposition should stop trying to win elections. For the last 12 years, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has put forward a very different economic philosophy. Not merely redistribution, not merely government expenditure, but infrastructure, investment, manufacturing, digitalization, formalization and connectivity. The Prime Minister has repeatedly spoken about reform, perform and transform. This is the difference between a government that merely survives an election and a government that tries to transform an economy. But here is the real question. Who actually benefits from economic growth? Because the opposition will immediately say, GDP is growing, but what about ordinary people? Fair question. But then let us talk about ordinary people. The small trader who is using the UPI, the farmer getting direct benefit transfers, the young entrepreneur starting a business digitally, the woman opening a bank account. And now let us come to Bengal. 34 years of the left and 15 years of TMC have completely ruined West Bengal's economy. Because this debate becomes particularly important when we talk about West Bengal. Bengal has everything. His geography, history, talent, ports, rivers, huge population, a strategic location. So the question is not, does Bengal have potential? Of course, Bengal has potential. The question is, why has Bengal failed to convert its potential into prosperity? And that is where politics enters the economic debate. For decades, Bengal was held hostage by a political culture that often looked at industry with suspicion. Investment became a dirty word. Industry left, jobs left, young people left. And this is where the double engine model matters. A state government cannot build an economy in isolation, and neither can the center do. You need both engines to work together. One engine in Delhi and one engine in Bengal. If one engine is accelerating and the other engine is applying brakes, the train doesn't move. This is the essence of the double-engine government model. Center and state working together right now, the present situation in Bengal, infrastructure planned together, investment facilitated together. Bengal sits on the eastern gateway of India. Hooghly, Bay of Bengal, Northeast Corridor, Bangladesh, Southeast Asia, everything is within reach. Yet Bengal has repeatedly underperformed its geographical advantage. Why? Because geography creates opportunity, but governance converts opportunity into growth. And that is precisely where Bengal needs a change. And this is where the motion collapses. The motion says we keep winning elections, therefore we seem to be losing the economy. I say no. The real issue is not whether a party wins elections. The issue is, what does that party do after winning? If you win an election and build highways, build ports, attract manufacturing, digitize payments, expand infrastructure, that's economic policy. So don't please confuse electoral success with economic failure. Economist Milton Friedman famously said, "Nobody spends somebody else's money as carefully as he spends his own." That should be remembered by every government. Government money is taxpayers' money. Therefore, the question is not how much money did the government spend. The question is, what did the country get for that money? A bridge that reduces travel time creates value. A highway that connects a factory to a port creates value. A railway that reduces logistic costs creates value. Now let me turn the question back on the opposition. If winning election destroys economies, then answer me this. Why is India's GDP growing at 7.7%? Why is infrastructure expanding? Why are Indian digital payments transforming commerce? Why is India attracting global investment? Why are global companies looking at India as a major investment destination? And most importantly, why should Bengal remain outside this growth story? That is the question the people of Bengal should be asking. We don't need a government that fears industry. We need a government that tells entrepreneurs that come to Bengal. Come with your factory, with your technology, with your capital, with your jobs, with your innovation, and we will give you land, infrastructure, connectivity, power, logistics, and government that understands that business creates jobs. Because ultimately, governments don't create every job. Governments create the conditions in which jobs are created. That distinction is crucial. Elections are not the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Let us not insult democracy by blaming elections for economic problems. Elections give people the power to reward performance, to punish failure, and to demand better governance. And that is exactly what Bengal needs. Bengal needs to ask previous politicians, where are the jobs? Where are the factories? Where is the investment? Where is the infrastructure? Where is the growth? And if the answers are not good enough, change the government. And that's the reason we had Independence Day, a new Independence Day for Bengal on the 4th of May. That is democracy. So I reject this motion completely because India is not losing its economy by winning elections. India is building an economy while winning elections. And Bengal now has a choice. One model says politics first, another says development first. One model sees industry as a problem, the other sees industry as an opportunity. One model asked, how do we win the next election? The other asked, how do we build the next generation of jobs? And I know which model Bengal needs and wants. Bengal needs roads, not roadblocks. Investment, not intimidation. Needs factories, not forced migration. Needs jobs, not joblessness. Needs growth, not excuses. And Bengal needs a government where Delhi and Kolkata work as two engines of one growth story. So ladies and gentlemen, don't tell Bengal that elections are destroying the economy. Tell Bengal the truth. And this time, Bengal will choose growth, Bengal will choose opportunity, and Bengal will choose development. Bengal will change for good.
Thank you, Agnimitra. Thank you. I think that was the tonic that the audience needed. And as we look to Agnimitra,